Hello everyone! In this episode, we're going to move on our lesson, strong form and weak form. In the previous episode, we learned strong and weak form of auxiliary verbs. And I also told you that the weak form is used in fast speech and the strong form is in slow speech. Right? Now, in this video, I'm going to tell you more about strong and weak form. We are going to learn the strong and the weak form of modal verbs, pronouns, articles, prepositions, conjunctions, and possessive adjectives. Alright, now let's get started with modal verbs. Here the modal verbs having strong and weak form. So here, the strong form of this word we pronounce can, and the weak form we pronounce can. Okay, can. So can. In this one, the strong form we pronounce could, and the weak we pronounce could. Could. Shall, shall. Should. Must. Okay, let's read the note. Normally, we use the weak form when we speak, but when we want to show a contrast, or because it is especially important, we use the strong form. So, we use these modal verbs as the auxiliary verbs we learned in the previous episode, everyone. In the fast speech, we use the weak form, and in the slow speech, we use the strong form. Or when you want to express something that is especially important, we use the strong form too. So as here, we use the weak form when we speak. So in our speech, it can be a question form and it can be a positive form. And because we just want to express something normal, it's not really especially important, something normal like we are talking about habit or familiar topics, mean the topics that we already know about. So we just use the weak form. But when we want to show a contrast or something that you think it is really important to you or to the listeners, so we use the strong form. Let's see the example. Here the example. Let me read these examples for you. Can you play the guitar? Yes, I can. So when we answer in the short form, as we learn in the auxiliary verb, we use the strong form, can. So in the question, because we think this is normal, we use the weak form, we pronounce can. Can you play the guitar? Yes, I can. I really must stop wasting money on beer. So we use the strong form of must. We use must in here because we want to express that the thing is the important thing that we have to do. That's why we use the strong form of must. Okay, let's move to another example. Could he walk when he was 2 years old? Oh yes, he could. Should we give them a tip? I think we should. You can stay in this room if you like. But when you try to pronounce again and again and then that person didn't pay any attention to you, I think you can use the strong form. Just like you can stay in this room if you like. Something like that. What shall we do next? He must have seen her at a party last night. So I pronounce must have because I just use the weak form of the verb have as of. So I pronounce must have seen. So he must have seen her at the party last night. Can you climb a palm tree? Not now, but I could when I was 20. So we pronounce could in the strong form because we want to emphasize that in the past, I had the ability to do so. I had the ability to climb a palm tree, a tall palm tree, in front of the Angkor Wat temple. And that's it about the strong form and the weak form of modal verb. And let's move on to pronouns. Okay? Here, pronouns. They're used in the same way as auxiliary verbs, modal verbs, and other words having two different pronunciations. The strong form and the weak form. Okay, let me read these words for you. So the strong form of this word we pronounce you. And the weak form we pronounce ya or you. And the strong form we pronounce we and the weak form we pronounce we. She for the strong, she for the weak. He for the strong, he or e for the weak. Us for the strong, us for the weak. Her for the strong, her or a for the weak. Him for the strong form, im for the weak form. Them for the strong form, them for the weak. Me, me. Here's the note, as you already seen in the previous slide. Normally we use the weak form when we speak, especially a question or positive sentence. But when we want to show a contrast or when we want to emphasize something because it is especially important, we use the strong form. Alright, so let's see the example. Here are the examples. Will you be at the meeting on Monday? Yes. Will you be there? So the first one, we just use the weak form because we express our normal feeling or something. Just say, yeah. Will you be at the meeting on Monday? Yes. Will you be there? So you here is the person who is asking us. And you here is us. Because we are asked by the person you here. So that's why we just say you in the strong form. Can you help me carry this suitcase? So we use me. We do not try to pronounce the long and strong form. Me, but we just say me. Can you help me carry this suitcase? Okay, here is a short dialogue. A is asked, who broke my glass? B said, she did. And C said, no, I didn't. He did. So B blames C and C blames B back. Alright, here the example. Did you already ask him? So we link together, we just use the weak form of the him is im. So we link together, we pronounce Kim. Did you already ask him? Do you know her? No, I didn't know her, but I know her. In this example, we just want to express that there are two women, A and B, and you ask me about woman A, but I don't know woman A, and I tell you that I know woman B. That's why the answer is I don't know her, but I know her. So her here is the weak form, and her here is the strong form we use. And that's all about the strong and the weak form of pronouns. Let's continue to the strong and the weak form of article, preposition, and conjunction. Here, article, preposition, and conjunction. These words are used in the same way as we use auxiliary verbs, modal verbs, and pronouns. So here's the list of the strong and the weak form of article, preposition, and conjunction. So the strong we pronounce a, and the weak we pronounce a, and the strong we pronounce and the weak we pronounce un. The for the strong, the for the weak. The, a, an, un. At for the strong, at for the weak. From for the strong, from for the weak. For the strong, for the weak, for, from, of for the strong, of for the weak, to for the strong, to or ta for the weak, and for the strong, un for the weak, but, that, some, and the usage of these words are the same as we use pronouns, modal verbs, and auxiliary verbs. So we usually use these words in fast speech, the weak form, and the strong form for the slow speech. Okay? So that's all about article, preposition, and conjunction. So let's see the last section of this episode. Here, the last section of this episode, possessive adjective, there are comparative. Here's the list. Possessive adjectives, strong form and weak form. As you already learned, these words are still used in the same way as we use auxiliary verbs, modal verbs, pronouns, articles, conjunction and prepositions in the previous section in this episode. And here, possessive adjective, and we pronounce the strong form for this word. We pronounce your, and this one we pronounce ya. And his for the strong of this word, and then is for the weak. Our for the strong, and then are for the weak. Our, are, their, as, us, then, theirs, there are, there. But before we see the example, let's read the note. Note. We use strong form when the preposition is at the end of the sentence, or when we emphasize because we want to show contrast, or because it is especially important. So, to is pronounced to when the word after it starting with a vowel sound. So, for example, to erase, to eat, right? To erase, to eat, because the word erase and the word eat starting with a vowel sound, E and E at the beginning of those words. But we will pronounce ta when the word after to is starting with the consonant sound. It's starting with a consonant sound. Examples: to go, to come, to play, to school, to read, to write, to speak. So just pronounce ta when to plus a consonant sound. Alright, okay, let's see the example here. Where are you from? So we pronounce the weak form of the preposition from because it is at the end of the sentence. From. Where are you from? From Australia. We use the weak form, from Australia. Who is this for? It's for you. For you. We just use the weak form. Or you can use the strong form. You can emphasize when you think it is really important for the listener. You can pronounce it's for you. But here we just use the weak form because we think it's normal. It's for you. A cup of coffee, please. There are 60 seconds in a minute. She's as smart as her sister is. She's as smart as her sister is. Would you like some biscuits? No, thanks. And you? Would you like some biscuits? No, thanks. And you? So we can use the weak form when we just think it is normal, it's not important. And this is the end of this episode. Thank you for taking time to watch my video. And the next episode, we're gonna look for what caused you not to able to speak English after you have studied it for 5 years or more. Alright, that's all about this episode. See you next episode. Bye.